Welcome, Madridistas. How are you doing? Casillas and Del Bosque, we didn't talk about this yesterday. Well, I think that if they're looking for votes, I don't think this is going to get them many votes, not many at all, in my opinion. Let's watch a video with some negative things about both candidates. But this is a video for people who are ready for this. I mean, for people who understand that you can criticize one side and you can criticize the other. And what about cheerleaders and yes men? I was going to say, can you go watch another channel? But you're already doing it, so I don't need to tell you. But anyway, here we're reporting with as much objectivity as possible and saying what we think is good and what we think is bad about both of them. I hadn't gotten to this because of Florentino's interview last night on Horizonte with Iker Jimenez. Yes, I do want to talk about it, but with a lot of nuances because you won't see me doing that either. When it comes to insulting former Real Madrid players and above all Real Madrid legends. Because you say to yourself, I'm Fover, I'm going to insult Fover. I don't know if you get me, but anyway. Who was there? And that man in a winter transfer window played a few minutes and so on. He fell asleep on the bench, etc. That's one thing. And another thing is Casillas. Yes, I know that many of you say he was a mole and all that he didn't behave the way he should have. A captain, which I also agree with. He hasn't been one of the best captains in Real Madrid's history. I would even say he's been one of the worst. Now then, in the society we live in, which I already made a small comment about, nowadays you either insult him or praise him, but you can't, right? You can't be somewhere in the middle, and it's not about being neutral. You know me, I'm not neutral about many things, but man, it's really hard for me to insult someone like that. Or to say he's not a Madridista, but how could he not be? He's won 3 European Cups with Real Madrid and has been with the club since childhood. Or the other one, Del Bosque, who we'll talk about in a moment, and who I also have a few criticisms of, as well as a few positive things to say about. And now I'll explain why. How can anyone say that Del Bosque isn't a Madridista? He has a different kind of Madridismo than Florentino Perez, than many others of you, but you can't doubt someone, especially because we are fans. But they have achieved things with Real Madrid. They've won leagues and European Cups, and they gave everything they had at the time and then moved away. We often say they distance themselves from Florentino Perez, but many argue it's actually from Real Madrid. I say it again, Florentino Perez is not Real Madrid. He is the best president in the history of Real Madrid. He has done a lot for Real Madrid. He has done the most, I always make this clear, but he is not Real Madrid. This is not the Florentino Perez Football Club. It's Real Madrid Football Club, okay? Even so, with all this and partly defending the figure of the Madrid legends, whichever they may be, and we like some more than others, and we think some represent our club better. No, I insist, you won't see me insulting anyone, not at all. And I also think it's really ugly. But I think Riquelme hasn't really thought through what he's saying here. A big part of the fans, a large part of Real Madrid supporters, although keep in mind social media isn't the whole fan base, because Twitter, Real Madrid can be kind of awful sometimes and really fun at other times, where, well, you go in there and Casillas is almost treated like an outcast. It's incredible, isn't it? And maybe later you only really see it in other forums, in other corners of Madrid fandom. And it's not so much about Carvajal, for example. Carvajal also gets criticized on X, but then they arrive at the Bernabeu and look at the tribute he was given, right? That's why you have to put everything that comes from social media into perspective. It's always an indicator, but it's not the most important one. But I go back to that. If you sign Raul and Fernando Hierro as sporting director and director of the academy, of the youth system, I think that's fantastic. Because also, Fernando Hierro and Raul, whether you like them more or less, are two hardworking guys who have clearly done things, who have achieved things. I mean, I don't know if you understand me. I don't want to go much deeper than that either. I mean, these are people who have already been through some major messes and have stood out there, like signing Hierro, for example, in the Spanish Football Federation as the sporting director and achieving success with the national team. I'll say it again because I know you'll mention it in the comments, right? Because the federation is a nest of corrupt people, whatever you want to say. But Fernando Hierro has been there and also working for Real Madrid, which doesn't seem so fantastic anymore. No, because the federation is a nest of corruption, whatever you want to say. But Fernando Hierro has been there. Raul, okay. But the fact that Casillas is also there and we don't know exactly what's going to happen, if you understand, I mean, Casillas, look, I wanted to bring up a famous video that's already been highlighted. You sign Casillas, behave like an adult, and Hierro like Casillas, behave like an adult and not like a child about to fall. Or worse, too, with a worker profile and on social media. He makes mistakes and I don't see him. I mean, Casillas is a very particular character, and on social media, he makes mistakes. And I don't know if you understand me to go deeper. I mean, the Champions League and the Euros with the Spanish national team being decisive in so many matches, even though now the meme videos of Casillas are trending, like him coming out with his fists and so on. Yes, he's made a lot of mistakes, but he's also had a ton of successes. But it's amazing how you sign this guy and then images come out saying he was useless. No, he wasn't useless. If you tell me Raul was useless and that's why you got rid of him, I think that's fantastic. Hierro, Raul, worse, a hardworking profile. You know what I mean? Just like Iker Casillas. Okay, I respect that. It's there. There are a lot of people who buy into that content. You won't see that here. But yeah, honestly, life has a lot of nuances. And when it comes to this guy or whoever it is, I don't know, but for me, I wouldn't trust him to do a job there, executive or whatever. I don't know, but for me, I wouldn't trust him, like someone in an office or a desk job. Brilliant. No, because Raul Hierro, Raul, even worse, shines in office jobs. A worker that I see how he behaves. You know what I mean? To go deeper there, even Hierro himself told him, hey, we all have the right to make mistakes in life and to learn. And look, if he's going to be surrounded by these people, Hierro will tell him again, hey, behave like a responsible adult and stop being a child. Besides, Riquelme is saying that a lot of corporate spending at Madrid needs to be eliminated. And well, you sign Hierro, Raul, Casillas, even Del Bosque, even though Del Bosque told him, and on Juanma Castaño's show where Hierro announced it, Del Bosque told Juanma Castaño yesterday, who is professional and thinks it's fantastic, to have a more low-key profile and go deeper, if you know what I mean. But Casillas, Raul, and Hierro, who have earned the most at Madrid, are going to settle for anything. So are you saying, Enrique Riquelme, that a lot of expenses need to be cut from there, and the first thing you do is sign legends who definitely don't earn little? I don't know. He needs to explain where the money will come from or how cutting corporate expenses will save money, especially if more people are being brought in. Now, from the representative point of view of having Real Madrid legends there, I don't mind it, but not all of them are worth it. Not all of them are worth it. And I have serious doubts about Casillas, seriously. Casillas also worked at Real Madrid until recently. Florentino recruited him, right? He put him there, but I don't recall what Casillas did. I think it was mainly a representative role, right? As an ambassador, if I remember correctly. And nobody came out to say, what is Florentino doing? This guy is clueless, right? And yet now with Riquelme, well, it's because we're in the middle of the current election campaign. And then with Del Bosque, the same thing. Del Bosque is someone who, well, had a falling out with Florentino. It seems that among those who had issues with Florentino back in the day, he's the one who took it the worst. As for that relationship, both Hierro and Casillas and others returned to the club, but Del Bosque didn't. And it's really striking that he wants to do this selflessly. But still, I mean, a guy who, and here the national team thing also influences me, and I hope you'll respect that, though there will be some who won't and will insult me. This man made me both a world and European champion. But before that, he did it at Real Madrid during a wonderful era as well, from 2000 to 2002, with 2 European Cups. One under the presidency of Lorenzo Sanz and another under the presidency of Florentino. He was a man who managed the youth academy and came in to put out a fire. He also won 2 more league titles, 2 Champions Leagues, and Intercontinental Cups, among others. Also, I have a personal issue with Del Bosque, so I shouldn't be too fond of him. When I tried out for Real Madrid, when I was a youth player in the Juvenil C team, I think I had 4 or 5 good training sessions. I scored 2 goals in one of them, and it was Del Bosque who decided that I shouldn't stay there. Years later, I reminded him about it in an interview, but he didn't even remember. But anyway, that's just how it is. There were others who were better football-wise. It's no big deal. But I don't know if you understand me. But you can have things against or in favor of someone. But to doubt his loyalty to Madrid just because he had something against Florentino, to doubt his loyalty to Madrid, we have to remember how they kicked out Del Bosque and what they brought in afterward, after Kroos and the disaster we went through too. But anyway, Florentino even said in the recordings that he doesn't know anything. He's a blockhead. Do you remember that I was the first one who laughed at that? Because Florentino, during after-dinner conversations and so on, insulting people, he's really funny. We saw it in the audios. But there's one thing I hold against Del Bosque here. I think he either doesn't realize it or it's due to his affection for Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué, and others he coached to world and European championships, as he's always been conciliatory. But I can't accept some things like his response to the Negreira case, for example. There's Fone Negreira.
You once said that Guardiola's Barca would have won everything with or without Negreira, and in some circles of Madrid fans, we like that. What's your opinion on the case?
Well, I think that, I don't know, I get the impression that Negreira didn't influence the results.
I mean, I understand you all, and I'm the first one. When you hear this, you listen, it makes you angry, and then this guy goes to work for Real Madrid. If I sit down with Del Bosque or Juan Luis Martín de Pozuelo, and I start showing him everything, because this gentleman probably hasn't even looked into it, and I show him everything and so on. This guy, I mean, inevitably, sorry, his stomach must turn with everything that's happened, but he doesn't know, or he doesn't know, he hasn't wanted to find out, right? I doubt that, knowing everything, he'd still believe Barca was a great team. Of course, they had a safety net too and got help when in trouble, but that doesn't explain paying millions to the referee's second in command, right? So, of course, that's it against these last two decisions by Enrique Riquelme. So later they can't say that I only talk about the good things of one candidate and all the bad things of another, right? No, you see here that we try to be as fair as possible. Then there's this. And now get ready, Florentinistas. You can leave the video because you might not like this. Yesterday's news went uncommented because I ran out of time with everything going on, but I didn't want it to go unmentioned. And it's about Anas Lagari, Florentino's right-hand man, Anas Lagari, who received a commission of more than 10 million euros for saving Barca from Laporta. Not for saving him from Laporta, but for saving Barca, which was presided over by Laporta at the time of the financial levers. Of course, the levers, the other thing would be different, right? Well, here's the information that's under subscription and all that. But anyway, the point is that this is very easy to understand, guys, very easy to understand. And I know that a lot of people don't like to hear this. It's like now politically, with everything that's happening to the PSOE and a lot of people, and with good reason, and to the government, hey, these guys, bunch of crooks, look at what they're doing. It's all absolutely scandalous. But then tomorrow it turns out that someone from the PP or Vox has done the same thing. In a healthy society, and a mentally healthy person without biases and with self-criticism would say, well, this one should go to jail too if necessary, or this one is just another scoundrel no matter how much I idolize him. But that wouldn't happen in Spain because we're always on one side, always. Hey guys, Florentino, very good things. Of course, everything's fantastic, very good. But there's a guy there named Nas Lagari who might be doing a great job for Real Madrid because he whispers technological, financial, and business things to Florentino that are awesome for the club. I'm sure of it too. One thing doesn't take away from the other. Now then, this guy, he helped Barca with the levers, giving them the idea, but Laporta said it himself, yes. We saw the video here when he says, well, Madrid helped Barca with the levers, and Laporta says it. He didn't directly say no. He started talking about the Super League since I wanted the 300 million. So did Real Madrid or Florentino help him? He said no, just the Super League. But who exactly is the Super League? Well, it's absurd to think that if he gave them that idea, Barca got some money. Barca, yes, got some money. They managed to stay afloat with a very significant amount of money. 300, 400 million, right? It's naive. It's naive to think that the person who made that happen didn't get a commission, which was perfectly within his rights, but he got it. Kick Capital, headed by Real Madrid's president's right-hand man, got nearly 13 million euros, including VAT, for stopping the blue and red club's bankruptcy. For bringing them into this wonderful world of financial levers, one that was indeed legal, and then the following ones when Barca said, wow, this is a gold mine. Then they did the ones in August 2022 to register players they couldn't officially register on paper. Yes, but then that money never arrived, and they've won 3 of the last 4 leagues. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Well, a man who helped Barca with that is Florentino Perez's right-hand man, and a guy who for some reason has been a member for 3 years. He and his wife, and I don't know if anyone else in his family. Why? Why? If this is supposed to be passed down from parents to children and so on, why? I mean, can the Florentino cheerleaders explain it to me, or do they avoid the topic? They mostly avoid the topic, right? I mean, these serious journalists who are there with everything with Negreira like me, what is this? They read it and move on. Well, they read it and move on. It's unbelievable, but that's how it is. So, well, this just shows I'm not going to say who to follow and who not to follow. On this channel, we discuss everything, including what the other person is doing right and wrong. He's a candidate for the presidency of Real Madrid, and about what Florentino is doing and what Florentino does. And what Anas Lagari does makes my stomach turn. I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. And I repeat, no, this has to be proven. Look me in the eyes. Are we kidding or what? A guy who achieves that isn't going to want to, but that's what they do. They're men of business. But if Anas Lagari is at Madrid out of altruism, no, damn it, she's in Madrid to do business with Madrid, but that's normal. It's no big deal. Now, you help Como in Italy, you help Stuttgart in Germany, or Choso in France, and it's fine. We don't care. But with Barca, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Anyway, well, hey, a couple more things. The thing about Riquelme with Klopp, well, and now comes the thing about Kroos, which I think is something Juanma Castaño mentioned yesterday, which really surprises me. But anyway, let's start with the Klopp thing, because they talked to him yesterday and asked him about the German coach. Listen to what he says, especially his last sentence. On that point, no.
As for the coach, I'm going to be very cautious. There are specific names. I hope I can share them before it's over. We're working on it, but without a doubt, Klopp is a truly great coach. Could he fit at Real? He could definitely be a good fit for Real, but I can't confirm anything. No. No, he's a great coach who could definitely be a good fit for Real Madrid, but I can't confirm anything. What I can tell you is that I personally have never sat down with the club, nor have I spoken with the club.
You haven't sat down with Klopp?
No, not at all, but neither with Klopp nor with any other coach. I can assure you that I'm no longer involved in the day-to-day, and the sports team is working on that.
And Raúl? Has Raúl sat down with Klopp?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Raúl.
So Raúl has sat down with the club. I think the club is still trying to convince this man. And they're there. I mean, they haven't convinced him, not at all. And they're there trying to say it before Saturday, and they have to have someone else lined up. The other day on El Hormiguero, I said, well, we've changed the approach a bit here regarding the coach. And now about Kroos. Juanma Castaño said this. Juanma Castaño said this yesterday on El Partidazo de Cope. I'm going to get ahead of your comments again. But what does Juanma Castaño say? Juanma, what did he call the other guy? Juanma Jorge Javier Castaño, right? The host of El Partidazo de Cope says, after dropping this, for me, it would be an absolute bombshell on the show. He says, a source of absolute credibility told me this. Enrique Riquelme's candidacy is trying to sign Toni Kroos. That would really surprise me. I mean, it would be crazy. As this host, Juanma Castaño, reported, the candidate for the presidency of Real Madrid has made contact with the legendary former midfielder, mainly because Florentino was going to confirm it, right? And he hasn't done it, and that's a very good electoral base. And besides, it's hard for me to believe that Toni has had the support of many former footballers. From many footballers or former Real Madrid players, the current president of Real Madrid and candidate Florentino Perez. But that hasn't been the case for Toni Kroos. That he might be holding a grudge, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. That would really be a bombshell. Absolutely. We'll see. Well, hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Well, look, another thing against Quay, but hey, I'm not against this signing. If Florentino had signed him, I know many of you would have too. But Rodri, I always said, damn, if Rodri recovered well and does well in the World Cup, I want him for Real Madrid. I know many of you don't, okay? He's a Ballon d'Or winner, though he won it the way he did, okay? For me, he would be in a position that Madrid needs. But of course, if you go with Rodri and you go with Haaland, and today Rodri in an interview, this isn't the headline, okay? But he says a phrase where he says, when I was a kid, I dreamed of playing for Atletico de Madrid. You say, man, dude, they're not, he's being honest, because look, in the situation we're in now, he goes and says it. But come on, man, between bringing Casillas back, Del Bosque, and now Rodri says this, my goodness, today is not a good day for Enrique Riquelme's candidacy. Come on, if he confirms the thing about Kroos, that will be a game changer. And let's not even mention the thing about Klopp. That's just how it is. But it makes me laugh. I was going to say something else, but I forgot. I don't know what I was going to say. But anyway, having a soccer player there in the background who says this today is amazing. Well, I hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and that's it. See you in the next one. Bye.